everyone, I'm Renee.
I'm Kyle.
And we're from the Bee and Bear Homestead in Kickapoo, Illinois. We bought this house back in October of 2020. It was my grandparents' land and property, but it was owned by a different family for 12 years in between my grandparents owning it and us owning it. And we established a garden in it in the spring of 2021. So it's been a little while since we've done a garden tour, so we thought we'd show you what's growing in our garden and all the improvements that we've made. We'd love to do even more, but we have two small kids.
They're inside watching a movie, so.
And I work full time, so it's been incremental progress, but we're pretty proud of all the food that we grow and the progress that we've made. So come on in and take a look. Originally planning the garden, we thought we'd do the whole thing in raised beds. There's a lot of reasons for that. We like that you don't have to till raised beds. We like that you can control weeds better and control what kind of soil or compost you have in it. But wood is really expensive. So we did build one raised bed. It's a 4 by 8 foot raised bed. And then we also have a makeshift raised bed that we use some lumber that we already had and then some logs and things to create this raised bed space. But most of the garden, we actually ended up just creating growing spaces by smothering the weeds and the grass that was growing in this spot before with cardboard, and then putting good compost on top of the cardboard and using wood mulch around it to help control weeds. So that's what we've been doing, and it's working pretty well. This bed that we planted in the spring, so it's got most of our greens and earlier crops growing in it. We planted peas, and they're mostly gone now, but we've just planted another round of peas. Hopefully we'll get another crop in the fall. And in the spaces that you see are bare, we've also planted seeds for more lettuce, spinach, and beets that will hopefully grow this fall as well. We've got beets, Swiss chard, lettuce, kale, fennel, onions, chives, and broccoli growing in this bed right now. And in our other semi-raised bed, we've got some Brussels sprouts, basil, a couple pepper plants that we purchased the pepper plants this year. Our seeds didn't work out. And some somewhat wild tomato plants. Spaces that we did the method with the cardboard underneath the weedy ground and compost on top. So we've got some pole beans growing here. We put some more seeds in, and more hopefully will be coming up. We've got a very nice and healthy cucumber that hopefully I'll be making pickles from this season. There was zucchini in the corner, but unfortunately our squash bugs got to the zucchini. So we'll have to figure that out. We planted more seeds. I'm not confident if we'll get much more zucchini crop this season or not. And we have some butternut squash growing. I love growing butternut squash because they're very long keepers and we enjoy them all winter.
These are our tomato beds. There are 3 long rows that each have 4, 5 tomatoes in there. A couple of them were volunteers, and a couple of them need to still be trained up into a pole or a cage, but I trimmed them recently so they wouldn't be creating a jungle in the walkways. And some of them I haven't yet. This is our stand-up sunchokes, which are a tuber, kind of like a ginger they look like, but they taste more like a potato with the crunch of a water chestnut, depending on how you cook them. They multiply in the ground pretty well, and they also make trellises that I put pole beans up.
At the end of the garden, we have 2 things growing just for fun. These are birdhouse gourd vines. So they will produce birdhouse gourds, which you don't eat, but they make a really cool shaped gourd, and you can hollow them out and use them as a birdhouse. So we'll try to put some birdhouses around the garden to attract birds that will hopefully get rid of insect pests in our garden. And we also have jack-o'-lantern vines. My sister saved me some seeds from jack-o'-lanterns, and hopefully this season we'll be able to carve jack-o'-lanterns from the garden and we won't have to buy them in the store. Finally, we have our almost laughably small corn. This is sweet corn that we didn't get in the ground, the seeds in the ground, until early June. But I really wanted to try it. So we'll see if we get a harvest. We planted this whole makeshift bed with corn and only a little bit came up. The seeds were a little bit old. But it will be fun. It'll be a fun experiment. We'll see if we get any corn. Also, we have a little mound in the back that we threw some zucchini seeds in after the squash bugs got our first zucchini plant. On either side of our fenced-in garden, we have apple and fruit trees. So the large ones in the background were actually planted by my grandparents a really long time ago. They're really old and I'm concerned that they might not last very much longer. So we've planted a bunch more fruit trees just in the past 2 years. We've got 4 established and old apple trees on the property. We've got 2 peach trees, 1 medium-aged apple tree. I think we've planted 5 more young apple trees, at least 4. And we've planted a cherry, a plum, and a pear. And we have plans to plant an apricot in the fall. We hope you enjoyed this garden tour. It's definitely still a work in progress. We have plans to put in more beds.
Yeah, lots more beds, lots more plants. Not necessarily this year.
But it's been a joy to transform this space. It was actually, when we bought the property, there was sort of a weed patch here before we planted anything in it. And then we used it as a burn spot for a little bit when we were burning brush that we took down. So it's still a garden in progress, as probably all gardens are, but it's definitely a lot better than it was just a few years ago. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this garden tour, I hope you'll check out some of our other videos. We have a garden tour from 2021, from last year as well. And we have lots of videos about preserving all this harvest and some about our chickens. So check out our Bee and Bear Homestead channel and subscribe if you're interested. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.